So now it is time for some questions from our audiences. Frank, do we have anybody online? Not yet, or we do have somebody in the room? There we go. The microphone is coming to you.
George, Max, are you ready? You don't have the okay, so...
That's okay. So Frank is coming to you?
I come to you, yeah.
With the microphone. Oh, there it is. Wait, we've got it.
Yeah.
Now we've got it.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I would have a question to Blue Arc. Can you make an example on how this data can be given access to startups or SMEs about water data? I know for experience that these kind of data are very, very difficult to access. Sometimes there are privacy issues. People, especially companies, are very reluctant on releasing data. Sometimes also the public is reluctant, and even though you should release the data. So can you give some examples?
Yes, of course. When you would like to create a digital twins is that you recopy the infrastructure on the computer. Therefore, we have smart meters that we installed, and we have the data from the amount of water that we are sending into the pipe. Therefore, what we do, first we anonymize the data, but to the startup, there is one startup here at the APFL, and what we did, we gave them the one part of in Verbier, and we give them the details, but not, they don't know the sensor belongs to Laurent, it's anonymized, and therefore they can work on that. And you're right, usually it's extremely difficult to get the data. We have data from sensors coming from the company Beep, I cannot say. It's the hell of a work to get access to the data, even if we bought it, the data belong to us, and it's impossible to extract them from them system. We are locked. And therefore, what we tend to do now is to unlock this data, discuss with these suppliers, and say, look, if you would like to continue to work with us, and you would like us to acquire more of the sensors, you need to do something. And therefore, we...
What price?
What, cheap? Zero. No, it's... When you start to negotiate, we need to buy, I don't know, 10,000 sensors. You say, no, the data belongs to us. Do we agree or not? And if they don't, there are other customers. And usually they are big companies because the shareholders love to have the data, private data. Therefore, for us, we say, okay, if you would like to work with us, we do something that we can give back to the citizens, because we also would like to give to the citizens the data. Our vision, our goal is that when you turn on the tap, the water on your house, you should have the quality, the exact quality of the water that you are drinking. Today, this is not the case, but let's imagine in the future that in 10 years or 15 years from now, it is possible. Therefore, we have a lot of entrepreneurs or people that come to us. We have a system. Therefore, we try to work with them. There is, we have a lot of people coming because Verbier, it's a ski resort. And they have a chalet in Verbier. Usually, they don't go every day to Verbier. They go once per week or once per month. Therefore, there is the water that is inside of the house. Usually, the quality is bad. You know, because it's stuck for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks inside of the house. Therefore, you are not supposed to drink this water because the quality is not good. Therefore, what about having a system that if you have a chalet somewhere, there is a system, you turn the water, and the light is red, and when the light is green, you can drink it.
Interesting idea.
You have a chalet in Verbier?
I do not have a chalet in Verbier, but I had not thought of the water being bad after, of course, the house is empty. Oh, sure. Okay. All right. Who else we got?
So we have a question maybe online that we can take, and this is for Javier, so I will ask it in French. Javier, déjà la première question, qui sont les utilisateurs de la plateforme? Et la deuxième question, c'est quelles sont les collaborations avec les autres cantons en Suisse par rapport à votre stratégie?
Oui, bonjour, vous m'entendez bien?
Oui.
Ok, parfait. Alors, tout d'abord, la question des collaborations. Alors, tout au début, la stratégie a été faite en 2012 et puis elle a été faite par rapport au but cantonal. Donc, il y a une soixantaine de pages avec toutes les mesures à mettre en place au canton du Valais. Et de ce fait, la stratégie, elle est, disons, pour la mener à bien interne. Ce qui n'empêche du tout de collaborer, mais pour certains projets ou pour certaines coordinations, pour des sujets comme l'assainissement, comme les écluses, comme la gestion de la force hydraulique, etc. Mais les stratégies elles-mêmes, elles interne au canton. Ce qui ne veut pas dire qu'on ne peut pas collaborer avec d'autres cantons, mais on collabore vraiment, comme je disais, pour des projets, pas pour l'ensemble de les stratégies. Et puis la première question, oui, la plateforme O. Alors la plateforme O, elle a été faite pour tous les acteurs possibles, c'est-à-dire autant pour les communes que pour le public en général, que pour les écoles qui pourraient trouver certaines informations pour les étudiants, etc. Mais le but en fait de cette plateforme n'est pas de créer une nouvelle base de données cantonale ou une nouvelle base de données comme Blue Arc aimerait de faire, mais d'avoir une entrée où on arrive à trouver toutes les données possibles et qui se trouvent après à gauche et à droite sur d'autres bases de données. Donc c'est vraiment les points d'entrée, surtout pour les cantons, où on arrive à trouver certains infos, même pour les bureaux d'études qui disent, mais en fait, le canton du Valais, est-ce qu'il a des données météorologiques ou des données de débit sur RMange? Oui, non, comment? Et puis c'est ça le but. Mais après, il y a aussi tout un but informatif pour savoir où on est avec cette stratégie. Est-ce qu'il y a des projets phares qui ont été mis en place? Oui, comment, de quelle façon? Et idem pour les projets de recherche. Les projets de recherche, malheureusement, on a plein parce que le canton du Valais, les châteaux d'eau, comme on dit, de l'Europe. Il y a beaucoup d'universités qui viennent ici, qui veulent faire son projet, mais après ils partent. On n'est même pas informé de ce qu'ils ont fait, les buts, les résumés, les données, etc. Donc le but est de vraiment, à nouveau, centraliser toutes ces infos sur une plateforme pour pouvoir vraiment donner un retour à la population en Valais.
Do we have any more questions from the audience? Anybody else have anything they'd like
Question.
to?
Otherwise, I have a question for Olivier.
Oh, please.
What is more difficult, to find the right investors or to find the right investment?
It's difficult to find not the right investor, to convince investors, because the cooperative is a non-speculative system, you know. It's like Migros, like Raiffeisen or Coop, but it's a disruptive. To find the right investment for one investment we are doing, we analyze 30 to 40 companies. And I'll say these are figures, 50%. In fact, you have a good project, okay, guys arrive, present, but we have no market. And he's convinced that he's right, he's convinced that he has the world in front of him, but there is no market. And very hard to say no, because the idea is incredible, or it's too early. The 50% of the 50 sold, the problem, the price, what they are looking for their investment is so high that we don't go with him because it's unbelievable. No, please, go on the floor. We are not in IT or we are not in project life science. We are more linked to industrial project and the margin, and to be a licorn if you go in the stock exchange is not exactly the same. And that's another project, you know. We arrive to do something, discuss to them, and in the last 25%, sometimes it's just the IP. What is the IP? Did you have a specific IP or you don't? And the problem, if you don't, it's very difficult also because it's a race that we have against the environment, against what happens now. So that's more difficult to find the right project.
Any question in the audience? Yeah. Can you give the mic, please? Thank you.
afternoon. Thank you very much for the very interesting discussion. Question for Lorenzo. I was wondering, do you incubate and help startups to engage with public actors to create potentially public-private platforms? So, for example, we have Le Canton du Valais today. And I was wondering if it's maybe partners you're considering going forward. Thank you.
Yes, we are strengthening collaboration between also public and local administration and governments. We have also companies in our portfolio that are serving governments and local administrations. So yes, we have companies working with cities, with regions, with public administrations. So yes, both in Europe and in other regions such as Latin America and more. We have a strong network of members in our community, and we try to have these companies to grow, to speak the same language with different players. Because sometimes it's also a matter of different languages and speed, because usually startups and small companies are acting faster than public or local administrations. But yes.
Anyone else in the room has question to the...
Got it in the back.
There is one at the back.
So you are, all of you are into collaboration and into trying to bring people together to solve issues. First of all, do you see potential collaborations between yourselves? I mean, on the stage and online, and also maybe between yourself and the previous pitchers that we've heard this morning and in the previous sessions.
Yes, I can. Of course, I think this is, you may look that we are competing each other, but it's not the case. And as a matter of fact, this morning I spent my time just sending emails to the companies that were already incubated in somewhere, because I have some ideas that, and I think it would be great if our role would be to remove some of the hot potatoes we're going to give to your kids. And if I can help someone else, my colleagues, I would say Lorenzo, for example, friends from Simon, I would be delighted. I think this is my role to do it. And there are always... Yeah. And for us, as example, we are in the Alps. And there is absolutely nothing between in the Alps, the cities in the Alps. As example, Davos have exactly the same problem than us, and in France or in Italy, we are the same. Therefore, we are doing a network in the Alps. And I'm sure that Lorenzo is doing some business in South America or in Europe, but not in the Alps. Therefore, maybe we can share the expertise and experience that we have. And this is the same. You work with a lake. Mm-hmm. But maybe there is something that we can use and we can share. And as I say, we are not here to, I would say, to compete for the ego, but to remove some hot potatoes that we are serving to our kids.
You can hang on to that. You can keep that. Did anybody else want to add?
Yeah, Laura also.
Yeah, to give you a quick answer. Sure, we say we have municipalities and others, and today's I shared a lunch with someone, and we have defined a meeting, a video conference, and I think we have something to go ahead, really impacting. And I will just say a sentence. We have to build a world we will never see. That's the main defeat that we have in front of us. And we have to connect, and I've seen a lot today. Very, very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you. Nora.
So I completely agree with what I've said before. And, doesn't work? Okay. Thank you. So I said that I completely agree with what you said before. And for example, in a cluster, some of the pitchers are already members of the association. So this is a good example that partnership and collaboration can work. And I think after today, we will have more collaboration and and we will strengthen really the network around these problematics. Maybe yes, it's working.
It's function?
Yes.
Okay. So I think, thanks of all also for these excellent ideas. It's very important. If I speak from FMV, ou bien je prends la parole de FMV, ça c'est le monde de infrastructure. Hein? It's infrastructure. And I speak as water power. Ça c'est the installation, buildings, huge, and from history. It's a huge investment in history, mais aussi in future. Mais c'était construit dans le monopole. The privacy doesn't matter at all at the same time. Huh? But I'm sure that we have to collaborate together, all of us, the regions, the different regions. Le Valais, ça c'est un bassin versant assez important, comme on a vu et lu et entendu. But il y a encore des énormes challenges pour le futur qui viennent de nous, ça c'est clair. Et c'est seulement la collaboration qui va nous aider. Et je pense aussi un élément très important, ça c'est, on n'a pas de problème de data, pas d'assez de data. On a un problème de trop de data. The data management, it's not a problem de pas d'assez, oui, c'est plutôt le problème de comment on gère les data, la gestion data. Et c'est la question de ce space, comment on peut gérer les dates ensemble. Et c'est plutôt la question de data sharing, le futur. Et je pense que ça c'est important aussi pour tous, et évidemment aussi pour les privés, les entités, de travailler ensemble.
Raoul, juste une petite question. Est-ce que vous pouvez préciser la gouvernance des forces motrices valaisannes, peut-être pour le public?
Alors la gouvernance, c'est comme dans toute la Suisse, la même chose. L'énergie, la propriété d'énergie de toutes les sociétés d'énergie, c'est dans les mains publiques. Et en Valais, ça c'est le FMV, force motrice valaisan, qui est 100% dans les mains valaisans publiques, c'est-à-dire le canton qui a la plupart, la majorité, et la minorité, c'est dans les mains des communes. Mais ça, c'est exemplaire. Et aussi, pour ça, j'ai dit, dans l'époque, l'infrastructure était construite par des mains publiques. Hein. C'était les cantons en Suisse qui ont construit les grands barrages. C'était le monopole qui a payé. Mais maintenant, il faut trouver le bon chemin. Je dirais aussi, il faut trouver peut-être des business plans stables pour le futur. Parce qu'il ne faut pas oublier que si on construit d'infrastructures, ça c'est toujours une longue histoire. Hein. On cherche aussi des investisseurs qui sont d'accord de payer pour 80 ans. Ou bien que ça c'est la patience qu'on cherche. Et ça, c'est un peu le challenge. Mais encore une fois, le governance vient plutôt par là parce que c'est quand même un besoin public de la société, de notre société. Et pour ça, nous sommes très attachés, très liés avec les cantons, les communes et le fédéral en Suisse.
Any question in the audience? Anyone? We still have time to take some questions. There's no question on Hermit, I think. Hermit also in the audience, please. There is a question on Hermit. Can you say it? Or wait, I can have a look. What is the question? Alors, c'est une question pour Laura. La participation des corporates comme Danone et Vian, la gestion des discussions et des collaborations entre les parties prenantes. Je lis juste la question que...
Je vais essayer de parler un peu de la gestion des...
C'est pas très clair. Donc la gestion des discussions et des collaborations entre les parties prenantes.
D'accord.
Et la participation des corporates comme Danone et Vian.
D'accord. Donc, je peux parler un peu de manière globale. Donc, nous, on fait des commissions où chaque membre peut participer. Et ensuite, s'il y a des projets précis, dans n'importe quel de nos membres peut amener un projet au sein du cluster. Ok, bon, j'ai parlé en français. Peut apporter des projets au sein du cluster et ensuite on fixe les acteurs qui pourraient répondre à ce besoin et ensuite on les fait se rencontrer. Voilà, donc ça c'est... je pense que ça répond à une partie de la question. Et donc en fait c'est comme ça que toutes les entreprises et les collectivités et aussi les universités centres de recherche peuvent se rencontrer. C'est que grâce à nous, on fait vraiment le lien et une petite PME peut rencontrer une multinationale comme un centre de recherche, comme un organisme de formation. Tout dépend du besoin en fait qui est demandé pour le projet. Je ne sais pas si ça répond à la question, mais oui, ça n'était pas très clair.
Je ne sais pas, c'est la question que je viens de voir. Est-ce qu'il y a d'autres questions dans la salle? Il y a le Mac. Non, c'est...
Ah, ok. Vous m'entendez là? Ouais. C'est moi qui ai posé la question là, sur les interactions. Et je voudrais la préciser. En fait, je crois qu'elle concerne en tout cas 3 des speakers. Je ne sais pas si je suis assez près. L'eau se trouve à l'intersection des territoires, des acteurs économiques, politiques, et ainsi de suite. Et donc, au moins 3 des speakers, je ne sais pas pour Olivier, mais vous êtes au cœur de ces débats pour combiner les actions, qu'elles soient constructives. On a eu une votation il y a quelques jours qui est une illustration de ce débat et comment avance le sujet en fait, de la gestion des pesticides par rapport aux nappes phréatiques, ainsi de suite. Donc on est dans le concret. Est-ce que vous pouvez donner des exemples de comment vous arrivez à construire ces collaborations de façon positive, en embarquant vos parties prenantes? Parce que c'est votre travail de tous les jours. Peut-être, Laurent, est-ce que tu es dans le concret sur un territoire géographique relativement précis, et après on pourrait peut-être avoir l'éclairage plus large au niveau du palais.
Can you hear me? No. I have something special in my hands. I can give you a real example with irrigation. We asked the farmers, we went to the farmers, what are your biggest problems? And the number 1 to all the farmers were to irrigate, because it takes forever. Why? Because in the Alps, sometimes the fields are extremely small, and one of them has 350 fields. Therefore, he has to take all the stuff to 350 to irrigate. And if he does not irrigate, he cannot produce enough grass. And he said, "This is I cannot. I need to use my mom. She's 84 years old to do it." And it is the same with all the farmers. Therefore, we say, if we help you to irrigate, and you don't have to go to each. Are you okay? And they say yes. Therefore, we went to. We have every year we have some challenges, and one of those challenges: can you help the farmers, and also help us? How much water do we have? Do we need? And a consortium from students, SMEs, startup came with a very nice solution. They say, okay, we will measure the amount of water that you have in the river, how much water you have on the cistern, and how much water do you use, but also how much water do you need. And what we discovered is that to grow the crops, you need the exact amount of water. It's like us. If you drink too much, your belly is like this. If you don't drink too much, you're going to die. And the flowers and the plant are exactly the same. And what usually we discover that we put 50% of water above what could be healthy for the flowers or the crops or the plants. And therefore, we use less water, and we decrease the time the farmers are going to irrigate. Therefore, it's good for us. Why? because we have less and less glacier, and even if we are in valley, we have, in some location, the glacier just simply disappeared and we don't have water. And during the winter, we have less and less snow. It means that during July and August, there is a zip on the source. And these farmers have to rely on the water. This is exactly the same I heard here in the Lac Léman and Neuchâtel. The farmer need to have more and more water, therefore they need to take the water from the lake, Neuchâtel, because of the global warming. And I'm quite old. When I was 10 years old, my teacher at the class told me, you know, one day we will not have enough water in Valais, and I laugh. And 40 years after, I say, here we are. Therefore, this is the, to answer your question, we go to the citizens, we go to the people and say, what are your problem? We go to the cities, what are your problem? We go to the companies and we ask them, and how can we help to solve? Usually it's you buy a product and it's sold, and usually it does not exist. This is also what I mentioned before, it's that the solution that we will find in Verbier will not be the same solution than here in the Lac Léman, because the amount of irrigation is different, and the crops we are using in Verbier is not the same than in Neuchâtel. It's complementary, but the solution that we will find will be we can recopy. And also, after they asked the question, what is the collaboration between the state, between the canton? And I will say, in Switzerland, we work in silos. And if a canton does something, another canton will do exactly the same study, and the other canton will do the other study. Instead of you reusing therefore everybody is reinventing the wheel, instead of collaborating. And I think that if we can break these silos, instead of using 1 million for 26 studies, which are exactly the same, we can use this 1 million to go much deeper into the reflection and to be much more impacting.
Nicolas, je vais le dire en français. C'est juste un peu plus easy. 2 propos. Nous devons investir dans la technologie. OK, il y a une votation qui a été refusée. La technologie est là aujourd'hui. Je vais prendre 2 exemples. Un, je suis à l'aise, on n'est pas investi dedans. Il m'en voudra peut-être. Non, ils ont bien voulu. EcoRobotics. C'est une société qui dit, voilà, j'arrive, je vais mettre par technologie le polluant chimique exactement à l'endroit où il est besoin sur la plante. Et c'est la plante qui va l'absorber et ça ne va pas être le sol. Donc on n'est plus dans un arrosage fou. Donc on a aujourd'hui ces technologies. Je vous prends un deuxième cas de partenariat public-privé. Nous avons une commune dans la région. On pouvait construire un écoquartier. Mais malheureusement, la taille des égouts ne permettait pas d'absorber l'eau de ce nouveau quartier. Eh bien, il sera implémenté dans les immeubles une technologie où toute l'eau, je ne parle pas de l'eau de pluie, je parle toute l'eau de l'immeuble usagé, va arriver dans un système où il n'y aura plus que 10% de cette eau qui va repartir aux égouts et tout le reste va être utilisé pour les besoins de l'immeuble, arroser les gazons, arroser les jardins qu'il y aura autour de cet immeuble. Donc on voit typiquement là, en partenariat public-privé, une considération de la technologie, une considération du capital. Mais voilà, nous avons besoin de capital à long terme. Et ça, c'est la grande difficulté, parce que toute la finance... J'ai créé un département bancaire de gestion de fortune en 1983, j'avais 21 ans, un truc fou. Ben, le problème, c'est qu'entre-temps, la finance, elle a passé de à disposition de l'économie, elle est devenue à sa propre disposition pour créer l'argent par l'argent. Et ça, c'est la difficulté qu'on doit contourner aujourd'hui. Mais il y a les moyens. Et là aussi, il y a un partenaire public, puisque nous, on a des municipalités qui sont des associés pour aller de l'avant.
This doesn't. Oh, yes, it does work. Oh, it's back.
Allô, ça fonctionne.
If you wanted to add to that, sorry. Raoul.
Alors peut-être encore un élément aussi là-dessus, les bonnes expériences. Je pense, je ne vais pas répéter, mais en Suisse, il y a quand même un fédéralisme. Et avec ce fédéralisme, il y a quasi dans les DNA, il faut travailler dans une façon participative. Je fais seulement un exemple. Chaque fois quand on a une nouvelle concession, il faut trouver des solutions. Les solutions sont terrain. les énergies renouvelables, ça c'est clair, ils sont sur le terrain, c'est clair. Alors il faut travailler avec les communes, il faut travailler avec les propriétaires, il faut bien expliquer qu'est-ce que le plus-value aujourd'hui, demain. Il faut intégrer, je dis ça aussi, peut-être il y a des NGO aussi dans la salle. On connaît aussi des projets qu'on travaille avec des groupes de suivi, des groupes de travail, accompagnés avec les collègues je dis explicite, des collègues des NGOs, de WWF, ProNatura. Et à la fin, on travaille ensemble de trouver la bonne solution. À la fin, c'est toujours aussi une pesée des intérêts. Il y a l'économie, il y a l'énergie qu'on cherche d'optimiser, mais par contre, il y a aussi écologie, qui est de plus en plus important. Et il ne faut pas oublier, il y a aussi l'acceptance. Et l'acceptance, pour nous, ça c'est quasi la porte d'entrée. Et on n'arrive jamais de trouver l'acceptance des peuples, de gens qui sont sur terrain, mais s'ils ne sont pas intégrés dans ce processus. Au moment où on a 4 différents projets en vallée, avec 4 différents groupes de travail, qu'on travaille ensemble de trouver les bonnes solutions. L'idée, c'est toujours, on arrive à la fin de trouver la bonne solution et on n'essaye pas de bloquer un projet qui est en train de se développer. Voilà. Mais c'est dur.
So maybe we can ask also this question about collaboration to Simon, because Simon, what you're trying to do is to put together a lot of actors with this Swiss Climate Forum. So if you could just explain the strategy and maybe what could be done, on your part of Switzerland and on our part also of Switzerland. So how can we join forces maybe?
Yes, so in the end, to my view, it will always be it has to be a case-by-case solution, no? But I mean, we're very much convinced that we should start by trying to understand if we can actually reach a common understanding of the issues at hand. Because if we don't achieve this kind of common understanding, it's going to be really difficult to agree on a solution, right? So, but we think that everyone is interested in this, at least at the basic level, about solving the challenges that come ahead of us. And we also think that everyone is interested in reducing costs. And I think there's still many inefficiencies when it comes to the way we do things as an industrial complex, as a water complex, as a public sector, and so forth. And I think these are the focus points that we should really concentrate on to try to understand, okay, where is our society working in an inefficient way? Where are we wasting resources? Because where we're wasting resources, we're wasting money. And I think if we can find ways to save money, it's going to be much easier to align people. This is at least one thing everyone is going to agree on, and it's not a political debate, so to speak. So yeah, it's a bit abstract response there. But I think that's more or less the philosophy that we're trying to push through the Swiss Water and Climate Forum.
All right, thank you so much, Simon. And thanks to all of you for being on our panel today. Thank you so much. Round of applause, everybody. Lots of takeaways and just in time for our next coffee break. Speaking of collaborating, you've got another 45 minutes or so to do some networking and collaborating of your own. And we'll see you right back here at 4 o'clock for the last part of today's sessions. All right, we'll see you soon.